Hi, it's 7:02, and I'm going to go ahead and start our session today. So the main thing that I wanted to cover tonight is that we're going to talk about basically uh, a few things that are hopefully not new to you. We're going to talk about the difference between subject heading search and natural language, between magazine articles and journal articles, and also how to do APA citation. And I happen to have a free software program called Zotero that will do your APA for you. Anybody interested in that? Okay, well, I will show you that later on, okay? So we're going to go to the library homepage and we're going to do some searching there. But I realize that you all may have some different ways of going to the library. I go straight to the library page. I have it bookmarked and the URL is there. But you're probably entering through your courses. So when you go into the courses inside D2L or Brightspace, you're going to click on Learning Tools and then choose the library, or you can click, if you're in your class, on Resources and then choose the library. But I always recommend that students go ahead and bookmark it on your computer so that you can just quickly go to what you need on the library pages. So the library catalog is the first thing that I want to talk about. So we're going to minimize this for now and talk about how do we actually search in the library. All right, so here we are at the library homepage. We do have a new service for you. So this is the library chat, and I really hope that you'll use it. You can chat in real time with a librarian here. And we can also do a Zoom session for you. So some of you, I know you don't like to type, but if you go ahead and click on chat now and get the conversation started, then we can open up a Zoom session and do it that way if that's easier. And I usually don't have the student show their face or anything like that. I'm just showing my screen so you can see how I go about searching the database to answer your question or where I go to do the APA part. So just know that that's there. Now we're going to click in the library. And I'm going to do psychology disorder. Has anybody had to research this before? Okay, so what I'm doing is I've got the word "and" in there to tell the computer that I want both of these phrases, but they don't have to be right together. I just want to make sure that when we're talking about this, that we're not talking about fiction books about it. We're talking about psychology articles or books that are scientifically dealing with this topic. So you'll see that we have a variety of sources that we can use here. So when you look on the left at format, you can do article, chapter, and just narrow it down to articles. Although I will say that this is not the best way to get peer-reviewed articles. And I would think by a 300 level class, you need to get peer-reviewed. So generally, I recommend the library catalog for books. And we have both print and ebooks, although I understand probably most of you do not want to come to the library and read the book or check it out, although you are certainly welcome to. But we are really trying to make most of our collection ebooks so that you can just read them online. Multiple students can read them at the same time, and that just makes life easier for everyone. So if I click on View this ebook, you'll see I have two different links that I can go to. Either one will work. They just go to different databases. And it always takes a little bit for it to load up. You will have to log in if you're off campus, so keep that in mind. Now, you do not need to download the book. Even though it says that, I recommend you not do that. Okay, what you do want to look at is read online. That's your best option. How many pages can you copy? And we can copy 57 pages if we want to. And we can download just a chapter if we want to download a chapter. And I find that that's easier because usually you don't really want to read the entire book on the computer, right? That's hard on your eyes. You just want to know where's the information on the stuff that I want, right? So we are going to go to Read Online. And the reason I'm doing that is because once I click on Read Online, then I can search inside the book. So if I put in borderline personality, obviously that's going to be in here a lot. But I'm going to put in treatment. Oh, bullying is not supported. Okay, let's just put treatment. All right. then it shows us in each chapter where that word appears the most. So when we look at section 2 here, you can see the purple line is really long. There's a lot more of that word there. So we can just click on this and go to that section. So we just go right to page 76, and then we can just look through this chapter and read the points that we want for our paper, right? That makes it easier if we don't have to read the whole book. So just look for a chapter, and that's how I recommend that you read the ebooks. Now we're going to go back to the library homepage and talk about databases, because if your professor's asking for peer-reviewed journals, that's where we have to go, right? So we're going to go to databases. And my favorite databases, especially for psychology, the first one is Ebsco, and some of you may have already used that. So I'm not going to go into that, but we do have a video on both basic and advanced Ebsco. So keep that in mind. But I also want to show you ProQuest, because students tend to not think about ProQuest. It's at the end of the list. And so, and then sometimes you get error messages like this, right? So let's try again. Here we go. Oh, okay. Now, if this happens, this is when you get on chat and you tell the librarian, hey, this is not working. What's going on? And they may be able to find a way around it. Let's see if we go to One Academic. I mean, really, we shouldn't have to go there, but it's okay if we do. So you can log in through your library. Okay, so this is where sometimes things get quirky, because it wants us to log in, but I already have logged in. So this is somewhat common as well. Let me see if PsycInfo is working. Okay, now PsycInfo is part of Ebsco, but we're going to go ahead and use it. Sorry that I can't show you ProQuest tonight, but that's just how things are when you're running it live. So we're going to put in our subject again. Now, I want to talk to you about the difference between natural and subject headers. So when you and I talk in class about this, we are talking about borderline personality disorder, because we have been talking to our professor and we know that term, right? But there is a difference between doing this as a keyword or natural language and doing it as a subject heading. So notice that I have 12,000 articles that I found here. Okay, so that's a lot. You don't have time to go through 12,000. So right away, we've got a little snag. Okay, we don't want to just pick the first 3 and try and make them work on our paper. They might not be related at all. But if we click on the first one and we look at the subject heading, we can start narrowing things down. So when I look at, by the way, here are the authors and what their credentials are. So when you wonder why your professor's asking for peer review, it's because he wants the experts, and other experts have looked at this to decide if it's good enough to go in the journal. Then we have the abstract, and down here are the subjects. Now notice that these are hyperlinks. So borderline personality disorder will work better if we do it as a subject heading. We also want to look at other subject headings that might be useful. Okay, so maybe we want to focus our topic, because this is very broad, but maybe we want to look at adolescents and what works for them. All right, so we're going to click on adolescent psychotherapy. Now I'm clicking on a subject heading. Now you probably would not have thought to put adolescent psychotherapy as a phrase, because we would usually say like a teenager or youth or something like that, right? This DE is just signifying that this is a descriptor or subject heading. So that's what I'm doing. And then I'm going to add, using and in all caps again, then our borderline disorder, personality disorder. Okay, and now I'm going to click on search. Now you see this will narrow down our results. So we only have 44, and 44 we can deal with, right? You probably don't need 44. The other thing is you need to go to the left-hand side and click on full text so that the whole article is on the computer, okay? Because you don't want to come to the library and read the print, and I get that. It's much easier for me if it's, you know, on the computer. Now, for your professor, you need scholarly peer reviewed. That means that it has gone through a peer review process. Other experts have said this is solid research and it can be published. So that's why your professor makes you do this. And now we're down to 13. You see how much easier that is when we only have to deal with 13 articles and decide which 13 we want? Okay, so we're going to, again, click on the title of the article. And again, you don't want to just pick the first one just because it's first. You want to pick articles that sound interesting to you, that are focused on the right things, and that will work in your paper, right? Okay, so this abstract tells you what it's about. So you can read that before you read, 10 pages or however long this article is. You want to look at the abstract first so that you know, is this a good article for me or not? And if not, just go back to your results list, right? Here's the link for results list. Go back to that and go to another article and just find one that works for you. Now I'm going to show you the HTML full text. Do not use HTML when you are citing in your paper because it has no page numbers. And in APA, if it does not have page numbers, you have to count paragraphs. And there are many paragraphs, right? So you don't want to have to count that. But what I do like about this is that it makes it easier to get through some of this hard terminology because you can listen to it. So you can download this to your phone by using the download button over here, or to your computer, listen to it while you're running or walking around campus or whatever you're doing, working out. You can choose what accent you want, American, Australian, or British. And I have to say, I have a preference for the Australian, but that's just me. So feel free to listen to that. But when you go to cite it, you want to look at the PDF. And the reason for this is that the PDF is an actual picture of the page as it appeared in the original journal. So it has the page numbers. We don't have to count anything. So this first page here is just basic information about it. Notice they are trying to give you the citation here, and it's not quite correct, but for APA 6 or 7, but it will at least give you a start, okay? And we'll talk more about citations in just a minute. Okay, so here is where the article actually starts, okay? And you can see that we don't have to count paragraphs. And I like that you can see the headings, right? So I know that this is the introduction. And then sometimes when we start getting into the methods and data and all that, you get bogged down, right? So skip over that the first time, all right? Go to the discussion. What did they find? All right, so this discussion is going to talk about what they found, why they think they found that result. Maybe it was expected, maybe it wasn't. And then usually there's also a conclusion, although I did not see that in this particular one. The discussion may just be ending up as the final conclusion. It just depends in psychology whether or not you have that discussion or conclusion. You might have both, you might just have one, okay? So I would read the discussion first, and then if you need to go back into the middle part and get details for your paper, then do that. But don't get bogged down in all their numbers because you probably haven't had statistics yet, and I don't understand statistics at that level, to be honest with you. So yeah, that's where we need a math professor to come help us, right? Over here on the right, you can print this out, and with articles, you can print the whole thing. There's no limit. You can email it to yourself, and I highly recommend that just because it helps you keep your research straight. So you would put your email address here, your subject, whatever. What's nice about this is you can choose the citation format and tell it that you want APA, and then click send, and it's going to send it to you. Now, to see what that citation looks like, or maybe you just want the citation, you don't want to email the whole thing to you, you can click on this gold piece of paper, the cite button, and this really is worth gold because it does the APA citation for you. So right here we have our authors, right? Then we have our year, and in APA generally you're just going to put the year. You don't put the month or the day, which we saw in that other citation that I said it's not quite right. Then check the title of the article because this should all be lowercase for APA. So title of the article is lowercase. Title of the journal should be all the big words in capital letters, which is called standard capitalization, and it should be in italics. So the caps and the italics are what tell you that's a journal title. Now there should also be a volume and issue number, and that's missing here. That would go right here after the title of the journal. So we'll need to do a little research to figure out what that is. And also this DOI is wrong. So I'm going to show you how that DOI should look. I'm going to put it up here in the address bar, even though we're not going to do anything with it. But we're just going to change it. So the way that it should look, you'll see that it's put St. Leo and some other stuff there in the middle. And so we want doi.org/ and then the DOI number. So that's the correct format. It's up to you to change that. If you copy and paste that into Word, make sure that you go back in and change that so it looks like this, okay? We don't want that St. Leo stuff in the middle. By the way, you should all be using Word and not Pages or Google Docs, even though I know they're great. But Turnitin does not like those documents, and sometimes it will mess up your APA formatting if you upload into Turnitin or Chalk and Wire and you're not using Word. Word is free through the university. Also Grammarly, if you want something to check your grammar and make sure your sentence structure is good, Grammarly is free through the university. And like I said, we have Zotero, which does do your citations for you and can be better at these kinds of things. Actually, Zotero can use a DOI to create the citation. So I'm going to show you how we do that. I'm going to open a new tab and I'm going to go to zbib.org. Now, this is not the entire program. The program itself is Zotero, and you download it to your computer, and it does a lot of great things. We do have a video on it. So I encourage you to watch the video, because as you become juniors and seniors and you're doing higher level research, you really need the note-taking features and the advanced functions that Zotero has. But if we just want to really quickly try and figure out, does this have a volume and issue number, we can put the DOI in here. So this is ZBib. It's kind of like the light version of Zotero. And I'm going to tell it that I don't want MLA, I want APA 7, right? And it's just telling you that you're going to have to convert the capitalization, kind of like we talked about in Ebsco. You just need to be aware of that, okay? So we're going to click Cite. And you can see that it's not quite right in the structure. It should be double line spaced, and we should have the second, third, fourth line. They should be indented with that hanging indent, right? We did not get a volume or issue number. Usually they all come with a volume and issue number. Honestly, it's very rare that I have to go to this much work to try and find it. But you can see, okay, the reason it doesn't is it looks like they put it in PubMed, or the European version of it. And so that works differently than an actual journal. So that's why we don't have one. So just look in the APA manual to see what you would do in that case when you're missing information. You still have to put some kind of marker to indicate you know that information should be there, it just isn't, okay? And you're probably wondering, well, how do I know that? If I don't have the manual, how do I know the rules? Well, first of all, I would say buy the manual, but the other thing is to go to the Purdue OWL, right? And you probably already know about the OWL. That's probably how you all made it this far, right? Just checking. Okay, so this has information about how to do MLA or APA. So APA is right here. Notice this is the 7th edition. And so if we look at the formatting and style guide, we can go to what do we do with articles in a periodical, which is basically what we were looking at. And then you would go through here, you can see whether it's print or electronic, how do you handle that? By the way, this is what that volume and issue number should look like, and the page number should be in there. And so as you scroll down through this, it will show you what to do when different pieces are missing. Sometimes the date's missing. If the author's missing, I really would not use that site, whatever it is. When the author's missing, that's bad because we don't know who wrote it and if they're a scholar. Okay. So this is where you want to get your APA help because it gives you the basic form of it. And then you know you've gone to the right place, you've got the right information, right? All right, so last thing is where to see the videos for the library, because I have done much better videos than this one, okay? And the other ones, you know, it's all smooth and I've worked out the sound, it's much better. But anyway, this is the Canon YouTube channel. So take a look at this and I hope that you'll subscribe to it. Actually, I really need subscribers because until we get enough subscribers, I can't make a friendly URL. So you have to type out that big long number and letter thing to get to our channel. So again, I would bookmark the channel. What we do is we try and put things on here that we think will be helpful for you. So when you start getting into, your professor tells you you have to find a qualitative article or a quantitative article, we have short little videos on that. You can see that's only 2 minutes. Michelle Joyce, your online librarian, and so you may want to get to know her. We also have videos on how to search the different databases. By the way, here's the video on Zotero and how to get the actual program that does APA for you, and it works with Word. It's really slick. To learn APA 7, you see we have a video here on APA 7, and there's also a video, I don't see it right now, but it's basically, oh, here it is. This is, if you already know 6, it just tells you what the changes are between 6 and 7. But if you feel like you don't really know 6 at all, then I would come down here and look at APA 7, the basics, and get started with that, okay? And then go to the all for anything that's more complicated. All right, so that covers everything that I was hoping that we would cover tonight. So I thank you for watching this video, and I will hopefully hear from you. Feel free to email me or contact me if you have further questions. Be blessed and stay safe.